Welcome back to The Breakfast. And of course, now we move into quick conversations in sports. We're definitely going to be bringing in our sports correspondent, Okpe Adebari, to share quick thoughts with us on certain things that have happened in the last 24 hours.
Well, it starts with the game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, which was held in Austria and ended in a 1-1 draw. Despite taking the early lead in the first half through a Kelechi Iheanacho strike in the 21st minute, Gennett Rowe's men conceded a brilliant team goal by Tunisia, which was converted by Mohamed Dregay. Joining us to discuss this, of course, is our sports analyst. Okay, pleasure to have you join us.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Good morning, Felicity. Good morning, Osage.
Pretty interesting game yesterday. Do you honestly feel the Super Eagles were deserving of a victory?
Well, I wouldn't even take it as a victory. You know, it was a draw on paper, or rather on the scoreline. And then again, it wasn't convincing for me. I take a look at the tactical assessment by Gennett Rowe, and I wasn't pleased at all. Yeah, it was a friendly game. And then he did say, even before the Algeria game, he did say, look, don't look at the results, basically. What I'm after right now is the player performances and how they gel and blend into the squad. Personally, as a football fan, I wasn't pleased with what I saw as a Nigerian fan. But definitely, I saw brilliant signs. I saw flashes of brilliance from certain players. I could see that something is in the pipeline, and Gennett Rowe has a plan, and he's trying to get this team up to a certain standard. However, are Nigerian fans going to be patient enough? Are football fans going to be patient enough? Is he going to have enough time to get to where he needs to be before we resume for the AFCON qualifiers? That's just the question right now. So only time will tell, actually.
Yeah, even though you're not so enthusiastic, there must be something to take away from the game. What are the positives?
All right, now we take a look at certain individuals who just made their second debut for Nigeria. Most of them did make their debut in the first game against Algeria. Talking about the likes of Maduka Okoye, brilliant goalkeeper, plays for TSG Hoffenheim, and I must say he's a stalwart of a goalkeeper for his age. And then I take a look at another one, Zaidu Sanusi, Frank Oyeka, Kevin Akpogbuma. He was playing for Germany before. He has played for Germany at all the youth ranks. He recently switched allegiances to Nigeria, and I must say what a player he is. I have seen a resurgent Leon Balogun, you know, one half of our famous Oyinbo wall, you know, with William Troost Ekong. And then I could see a revamped Kelechi Iheanacho as well, and he got a brilliant goal. If you take a look at the goal, you know, his back was faced against the goal, but then was still able to find a way and to niggle a shot, and he got into the back of the net. So that was brilliant. And I saw a brilliant performance from our captain, as usual, Ahmed Musa. So different individuals playing good football, and I was glad to see that. It's just the team play that needs more time to transition properly. And then there were notable absentees from the team, talking about the likes of Ogenekaro Otebo, Wilfred Ndidi, and obviously Joe Aribo as well. So we saw debuts for new midfield players, talking about the likes of Frank Oyeka and Oluwasemilogo Ajayi of West Brom. And I must say, Shemi Ajayi is a fantastic player, extremely versatile, can play anywhere across the back four in defense and also in the midfield. And we saw Gennett Rowe use him in that midfield position, and it was brilliant for me. Yes. But what we did lack was creativity. And I must say, since JJ Okocha retired, we haven't had that caliber of a player who can just turn the game on his own, or who can control the tempo of a game.
So do you think, why do you think that has happened? Why haven't we been able over time, this is years ago, to find a playmaker? Now, we've tried a couple of people, we've made, you know, tried to use a couple of people, it just never clicked.
True, and I believe this is just an administrative fault. When we take a look at JJ Okocha is a product of a brilliant youth system that we had back in the days. We need to go back to the grassroots. We need to change the system of football. You know, when Gennett Rowe signed his new contract, a new job title that was given to him is technical director. Now, that means that, number one, he has to work hand in hand with the LMC, and he needs to actually be involved in the upgrade of our Nigerian Professional Football League. But then also, his football philosophy has to be passed straight down to the grassroots, because at the end of the day, the goal for every player who is at every age group for Nigeria is to eventually represent the Super Eagles. So we need a seamless journey for this player, so that when they do get into the first team, it's not so much of a struggle to try and fit into the team. However, that can be possible right now, because even Gennett Rowe himself does not have a certain system of football. If you take a look at the Nigerian football team today, the senior Super Eagles team, you can't say that we have an identity as a team, and that's a problem. We take a look at successful teams right now, international teams right now, talking about the likes of Spain, Germany, France, they have an identity. They have a way they play football. There is a philosophy behind
Does
it.
that put a question mark on Gennett Royal's position as a coach? If you have issues with cohesion, the team play and not individual play, then should we be revisiting the conversation around him?
At this point in time, we actually can revisit it because he just signed a new contract recently. However, look, the opinions of the fans are very much valid. And then I take a look at what has happened so far. You know, if you take a look at his tenure, it's been average, let's be honest, because we have not won any trophy. A third place finish at the AFCON 2019 was not good enough. That is the 8th time that we've gotten a bronze medal from an AFCON tournament. We are past that level. You take a look at the caliber of players that went for that tournament. We were good enough to win that tournament. And I believe it was just down to complacency. That's why we lost that semi-final game against Algeria. You know, and then taking a look at the team now going forward. Yes, he does need more time, but then he needs certain mainstay players. He needs to create a spine for that team. We've seen the impact with the absence of Wilfred Ndidi and Ogenokaro Otebo, who are two stalwart midfielders for Nigeria. So when you don't have these two players in the squad, what then happens? This is just an off season. You know, this is not the peak of international football. What then happens when we get back to qualifiers? What then happens when we get back to international tournaments? He needs to breed good players and continue to source for good players who represent the Super Eagles.
Well, I want us to move to talk about, Arsenal now, but I also want to know your quick thoughts on if the whole network, that makes Nigerian football, from the LMC to the NFA, the whole, do you think that might also be limiting Gennett Royal?
Well, at this point in time, I can't say for sure that is limiting Gennett Royal, because before he was offered that role, or rather before that clause in his new job description was given to him, I'm sure he would have asked for certain things. Now, certain things meaning he needs freedom. Another thing, he needs an enabling environment. He needs people who would work with him effectively to make sure that his goals and objectives for the team, and also the goals and objectives that have been given to him by the NFF, they need to be achieved. So he can't do it on his own. However, I would say that I am very pleased with the Nigerian Scouting Network headed by Tunde Adelakun. I love what they've done so far. You take a look at certain players who have come into the Nigerian squad since Gennett Royal was in charge. A lot of players from the diaspora who were eligible to represent other countries, but instead decided to represent the Super Eagles, majorly because sometimes some of these players, after coming to represent the Super Eagles, when they're being interviewed, when they're being asked, oh, why did you choose to decide Nigeria? They talk about the Gennett Royal factor. Sometimes he goes to the extra length to reach out to these players and to talk to them. So I do understand that we are good enough as a team, and then we have a bundle of talents. It's been there for years, but the main thing is bringing these players together and fixing them into a system of football that works perfectly for them.
Hello, hope you enjoyed the news. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to hit the notification button so you get notified about fresh news updates.